I am going to report my self-check number 1. So let's begin. What are the current ratio of NG plays? So the formula that I'm going to use is the current assets divide current liabilities. So the current asset is 90,203 pesos and the current liabilities is 30,056 pesos. So the formula, the current assets divided by current liabilities. So 90,203 pesos is the current asset divided by 30,056 pesos is the current liabilities is equal to 3.1. So the implication of current ratio of NG plays is 3.1 would imply the firm has a 3 pesos of asset to cover every 1 pesos in liabilities and it's high favorable of business. That's all. Thank you. 2. So the current ratio of NG plays, the implication on the current ratio of NG plays. So indicate the company's capacity to pay its short-term debt. This ratio must be greater than 1 in most tourism and hospitality establishments. Ideal level is equal to 1.5 or 1. NG Place, the current asset is 90,203 pesos. The total current liabilities is 30,056 pesos. So it's equal to 3.1. So that is the current ratio, 3.1. So the implication is 3.1 3 pesos of asset to cover every 1 peso and liabilities. This means that they can pay their current liabilities and short-term debits. Although they have double the appropriate ratio, this could be indicate that have more assets than are required. So the equity of ratio of NG Place, shareholder equity ratio equals the total shareholder equity ratio divided by total assets. So at TSE is 92,147 pesos and TA is 147,203 pesos. So 92,174 pesos divided by 147,203 pesos is equals to 0.62. So the implication of debt to equity ratio, business debt ratio of 0.62 are thought to be better. A debit ratio of 0.62 or higher makes borrowing money more difficult, but a low debit ratio indicates stronger credit worthiness. So that's all.
Self-check number 1. What is the current ratio of NGS Place? To get the current ratio is to divide the current assets and current liabilities to get the 3.1 or 3.11. So what is the implication on the current ratio of NGS Place? A ratio of 3.1 is would imply the firm has 3 pesos of assets to cover every 1 pesos in liabilities and it's highly favorable of the business. So it means the company has got 3 pesos in assets to pay its liabilities. It is tremendously advantageous to the firm for every 1 peso in liabilities. Self-check number 2. What is the equity ratio of NGS Place? They have a shareholder equity ratio equals total shareholder equity ratio divided by total assets. So for the total shareholder equity, they have 92,000 147, and for the total assets, you have also 1,047 and 203. The total shareholder and the total assets will be divided, and you will be get 0.62. So what are the implications on the current ratio of NGS place? Better is a debt ratio 0.62 for business or firm. A debt ratio of 0.62 or higher makes borrowing money difficult, but a low debt ratio indicates stronger creditworthiness. So for a debt ratio of 0.62 or higher makes it difficult to borrow money, but a low debt ratio indicates greater financially stability.
Self-check 1. What is the current ratio of NG's place? What are the implications of the current ratio of NG's place? So my answer is current assets divided by current liabilities. Current assets equals 90,203 and current liabilities equals 30,056. So 90,203 divided by 30,056 equals 3:1, and my implications, a ratio of 3:1, I would imply the firm has 3 pesos of assets to cover every 1 pesos in liabilities, and it is highly favorable of the business. In calculating the current ratio is calculated using 2 standard figures that a company reports in its quarterly and annual financial results, which are available on a company's business sheet: current assets and current liabilities. Self-check 2. What is the equity ratios of NG's place? What are the implications on the debt to equity ratios or ratio of NG's place? What is the equity ratio of NG's place? Answer: shareholder equity ratio equals total shareholder equity ratio divided by total assets. Implications of debt to equity ratio. The business or firm debt ratios 0.62 are considered better. From a pure perspective, a debt ratio of 0.62 or higher makes it difficult to borrow money, while a low debt ratio suggests greater creditworthiness.
Self-check 1. What are the current ratio of NG's place? Formula: current assets divide current liabilities. So the current assets is 90,203, while the current liabilities is 30,056. So 90,203 divide 30,056 equals to 3.1 or 3:1. 2. What are the implications of the current ratio of NG's place? A ratio of 3:1, I will imply the firm of 3 pesos of assets to cover every 1 peso in liabilities, and it is highly favorable of the business. It also indicated the ability of the business to pay its short-term debts. Thank you. Self-check 2. Number 1. What is the equity ratio of NG's place? Total shareholder equity, which is 92,143, divide to total assets, which is 147,203. So 92,147 divide 147,203 is equals to 0.62. Number 2. What are the implications on debt to equity ratio of NG's place? The business of firm debt ratios is 0.62 are considered better. From a pure perspective of debt ratio of 0.62 or higher makes it difficult to borrow money, while a low debt ratio suggests greater creditworthiness. In addition, the ratio looks at how much of debt can be covered by equity of the company needed to liquidate.
Current ratio of indicators. Application on the current ratio of indicators. Current ratio. Current asset divided by current liabilities indicate the company capacity to pay its short-term debts. This ratio must be greater than 1 in most tourism and hospitality establishments. NG Place. Total current asset 90,203. Total current liabilities 30,056. So 90,203 divided by 30,056 equals 3.001. Current ratio equals 3.1. Application. NG Place has 3 classes of assets to cover every 1 pesos in liabilities. This means they can pay their current liabilities and short-term debts. Although they have double the appropriate ratio, this could indicate that they have more assets than are required. Of check number 2. What is the equity ratio of NG Place? Answer. Shareholder equity ratio equals total shareholder equity ratio divided by total asset. Total shareholder equity ratio is 92,147. Total asset 147,203. Then 92,147 divided by 147,203 equals 0.62. Debt ratio of 0.62 are thought to be better. A debt ratio of 0.62 is higher makes borrowing money more difficult, but a low debt ratio indicates strong credit worthiness.